Does it make a big difference? I mean, we love supporting Aussie fashion brands, and I wonder how much of a boost it gives to the bottom line, or are you yet to see that?
Oh yeah, we've definitely seen an uptick. We have had some amazing traffic to our website, a lot of new customers, some international customers, a lot of buzz on social media. So it's been huge, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's very much the Meghan effect is very real.
That is so cool.
Have
you gone into menswear yet? Because I can see myself, Sarah and I could share some shackets.
We could share some shackets.
And there you have it. Not a fan account posting excitedly into the void, not a Sussex supporter crafting a narrative from enthusiasm rather than evidence, not a social media thread where passion substitutes for proof and wishful thinking gets dressed up as analysis. The founder of the brand herself, speaking in the measured, professional, slightly stunned language of someone watching their website do something it was not entirely prepared for, describing in the careful vocabulary of business, rather than the charged vocabulary of celebrity commentary, what happened the moment Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, stepped outside in her product. And what happened was this. The internet came for her inventory, all of it, at once. Let's translate the professional language into something more immediate, because the business speak understates the reality in ways that deserve correction. Traffic spike means the website went from normal operating conditions to the digital equivalent of every door in the building being opened simultaneously. It means servers working harder than they were designed to work. It means analytics dashboards showing numbers that someone, somewhere, did a double take at before refreshing the page to confirm they were seeing correctly. International customers means this was not a local moment with local reach. This was not a story contained to the city, the country, or even the continent where the appearance happened. This went global, across time zones, across languages, across the specific regional differences in what drives consumer behavior, with the kind of reach that brands spend significant marketing budgets attempting to manufacture and frequently fail to achieve anyway. A lot of buzz means exactly what you think it means, translated from professional understatement into plain English. The question, "Where's that from?" was circulating everywhere simultaneously, in group chats, on timelines, in comment sections, in the specific, organic, entirely uncoordinated way that genuine moments spread, not pushed by algorithms or amplified by paid promotion, but carried by people who saw something and wanted to share it because they genuinely wanted to. And the result of all of this traffic, all of this international attention, all of this buzz, sold out. Completely. Gone. Not gradually, as steady demand depleted inventory over days or weeks, not slowly in the way that products move when interest is real, but measured. Immediately, with the velocity of demand that outpaces supply before the supply has had a chance to respond. Again, because this has happened before, not once, not as a lucky coincidence of timing and circumstance that produced a one-off moment, repeatedly, consistently, with the reliable regularity of a pattern rather than the randomness of an accident. And it is happening in Australia on a visit that certain corners of the media are simultaneously covering intensively and describing as evidence of fading relevance. Let's talk about what she actually wore, because the fashion deserves its own proper examination, not as a shallow detour from more serious matters, but as the specific, concrete, measurable evidence of the broader point being made. First, the Anya dress. There is a particular category of garment that the fashion industry recognizes, and most people respond instinctively without necessarily having the vocabulary for it. The category of things that look simple until you try to replicate the effect yourself and discover that the simplicity was doing considerably more work than it appeared. that the clean lines required decisions, that the silhouette was the result of choices, that what looked effortless was the product of a very specific kind of craftsmanship that knows exactly what to leave out. The Anya dress is that kind of garment. No loud patterns competing for attention, no elaborate embellishments asking you to look, no details that justify themselves by existing rather than by serving the overall effect. Just structure, just silhouette, just the particular confidence of a piece that has decided what it is and committed to it completely. On the right person, in the right context, this kind of dress doesn't ask for attention. It receives it. And the response was immediate. People didn't see the dress and file it away for consideration. They saw it and acted, went looking, found the brand, reached the site at approximately the same time as everyone else who had the same response, which is why the traffic spike happened and why the inventory did not survive the encounter. Sold out. And then, before the conversation about the first dress had even fully settled, she switched the entire register. The Lou coat. Rich brown, oversized, the kind of relaxed, generous silhouette that operates by entirely different rules than the structured elegance of the Anya dress, but that achieves something equally specific and equally intentional. Paired with denim. Sneakers, a graphic tee that should, by any conventional logic of styling, be pulling in the opposite direction from the coat, casual against elevated, relaxed against considered, and instead does something more interesting. Makes the whole thing feel coherent, makes the ease feel deliberate, makes the combination feel like someone who knows exactly what they're doing and has decided that what they're doing today is being comfortable in a way that looks good. This is the thing that separates genuine personal style from the performance of it. Anyone can look polished in a structured dress with the right fit and the right occasion. That is a solved problem. The fashion industry has been solving it for centuries and has produced reliable templates that work. Looking genuinely, convincingly, attractively at ease in a casual outfit, looking like the relaxed version of yourself is your best version rather than your least considered one, is considerably harder. It requires either natural instinct or the kind of deeply internalized understanding of proportion and tone and the relationship between pieces that only comes from years of paying attention. The Lou coat outfit had that quality. The ease felt real rather than constructed. The casualness felt chosen rather than defaulted to. And people responded to it with the same urgency they had responded to the Anya dress. Almost every size. Gone. Two completely different outfits, two completely different moods, two completely different style registers, one formal, one casual, one structured, one relaxed, one the kind of thing you wear to make an impression, and one the kind of thing you wear because it makes you feel good. And the same outcome. Immediate, measurable, globally distributed demand that depleted inventory before most people had finished refreshing the brand's website. This is the point that needs to be made clearly, because it gets consistently underestimated in conversations that treat fashion as the lightweight end of the influence discussion. Fashion is not a superficial metric. It is one of the most immediate, most measurable, most difficult to fake indicators of genuine cultural influence that exists. Consider what has to happen for an outfit to sell out the way these sold out. Someone has to see it, has to have a response to it that goes beyond appreciation into desire, has to be motivated enough by that desire to take action, to search, to find, to navigate to a website, to locate the specific item, to add it to a cart, to complete a purchase before the item is gone, which in this case was a window measured not in days, but in hours. That chain of events, from seeing to wanting to acting, is not passive. It is not automatic. It is the result of a genuine, individual, freely made decision to acquire something because seeing it on a specific person, in a specific context, produced a specific feeling that the person wanted to carry into their own life. Multiply that individual decision by the number of people who made it simultaneously, enough to crash a website's traffic, enough to deplete international inventory, enough to prompt a founder to go on record about the experience, and you have something that transcends fashion entirely. You have documented evidence of cultural reach. Real, measurable, impossible to manufacture. Because you cannot pay people to want something, you cannot incentivize genuine desire, you cannot manufacture the specific, organic, individual impulse that makes someone decide in the moment that they need to own what they just saw. Either it happens or it doesn't. And in Melbourne, in Australia on this visit, across two completely different outfits from two completely different style registers, it happened. Twice. In the same day, with the same result both times. Now let's address the parallel universe that exists alongside all of this, because it would be irresponsible not to. At the exact moment that these sellouts were happening, while the founder was watching her analytics do things they had not previously done, while international customers were competing for remaining inventory, while group chats globally were circulating the question, "Where is that from?" there were headlines in circulation describing Meghan as irrelevant. Irrelevant, the word being applied to a person who had just generated a documented, verified, founder-confirmed global retail event. Let's sit with the specific, concrete meaning of irrelevance for a moment. Irrelevant means without impact, without effect, without the capacity to produce outcomes. It means that the presence or absence of something makes no measurable difference to the environment around it. A person whose appearance causes a brand's website to receive extraordinary traffic, whose outfit choices deplete international inventory within hours, whose presence in a country generates documented commercial response across multiple retailers, that person is, by any available definition, the opposite of irrelevant. They are, measurably, exactly as relevant as it is possible to be. Relevant enough that brands monitor her appearances. Relevant enough that retailers adjust their stock management based on the possibility of association with her. Relevant enough that a founder who has nothing to gain from flattery and everything to gain from accuracy describes the commercial impact in terms that leave no room for ambiguity. And yet, the word irrelevant keeps appearing in headlines, in commentary, in the confident assertions of people who have decided on a conclusion and are working backward from it regardless of what the evidence shows. This is not a subtle discrepancy. This is not a case where the truth is complicated and both sides have valid points worth weighing against each other. This is a case where one side has documented evidence, sold out inventory, traffic spikes, global demand, a founder's own testimony, and the other side has a narrative preference. And the preference keeps losing to the evidence. Every time. Let's zoom out to the full context of this visit, because the fashion moments don't exist in isolation, and their significance expands considerably when placed alongside everything else that has been happening. A children's hospital where genuine connection was made with families navigating some of the most difficult moments of their lives. A women's shelter where presence was offered to people who needed it. A veterans museum where Harry engaged with a community he has served through years of consistent, credentialed advocacy. Crowds that showed up, in numbers, with energy, with the specific warmth of people who chose to be there and were given 40 minutes of genuine, unhurried attention in return. And now, 2 sellout in a single day. What this visit is demonstrating, what it is proving, with the kind of consistency that accumulates into something impossible to dismiss, is that the reach Harry and Meghan have built is not sector-specific, is not limited to one kind of impact, or one kind of audience, or one kind of response. It operates across communities, across industries, across the very different registers of a hospital visit and a fashion moment, across the space between a women's shelter and a global retail event. That breadth is not accidental. It is the product of years of consistent, genuine engagement across multiple areas: humanitarian, advocacy, cultural, personal, that has built relationships with different communities in different contexts that all respond, when the moment comes, in their own specific way. The veterans respond with recognition. The hospital families respond with gratitude. The crowds respond with warmth. The fashion consumers respond with purchase decisions. All of it different, all of it measuring the same underlying thing: genuine, durable, cross-contextual influence. The kind that doesn't require an institution to validate it, doesn't require a palace to authorize it, doesn't require the permission or the blessing of any system that previously held power over how it was expressed. Just exists, functions, produces outcomes, sells out dresses and coats, and confirms, again and again, with the patient regularity of something that simply is, rather than something that has to be argued for, that the connection is real. Here is where the irony lands with its full weight. The people writing the irrelevance headlines are doing so on platforms that generated significant traffic from those headlines. Traffic driven, at least in part, by people who clicked because the name in the headline made them curious, who engaged with the content because the subject of the content continues to generate engagement. The irrelevance narrative is, itself, a product of the relevance it denies. The headlines exist because she sells. The commentary exists because people read it. The coverage exists because the coverage gets watched. And all of that, the traffic, the readership, the viewership, is itself evidence of the cultural presence that the content is attempting to minimize. You cannot profit from someone's relevance while arguing for their irrelevance. You cannot build your engagement metrics on a name and simultaneously claim that name carries no weight. The contradiction is not subtle. It is built into the economics of the situation in ways that should, at some point, become too visible to maintain. And the sold-out dresses and the gone coats and the founder speaking about traffic spikes and global demand are just the fashion industry's version of the same contradiction. Reality keeps showing up, with receipts, and a very empty inventory page. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.